There have been a lot of Pokemon Postgames. I mean, you have the Delta episode in ORAS, you have a whole new expansion of the region to explore in Black and White 2, and now we're moving into a full DLC postgame in Pokemon like the Armored Isle and Crown Tundra for Sword and Shield, and the Teal Mask and Indigo Disc for Scarlet and Violet. But none of these postgames hold a candle to the classics. Maybe it's my nostalgia talking, but I really miss the Pokemon Battle Frontier. That's right, the one from Pokemon Emerald, not the one from Platinum. We don't like her as much. I mean, she's fine, but like, I don't know, I just wouldn't invite her to my birthday party. That's exclusive. In today's video, I just want to rant a little bit about how much I enjoyed and appreciated the Battle Frontier when we had it, and that it truly hit like no other Pokemon postgame at the time hit. I mean, this felt like an entire second Pokemon League challenge to my little kid brain playing it, and it was awesome. If you love Pokemon Emerald and would also love to see the Battle Frontier one day make a triumphant return somewhere, let me know down in the comments below, and also remember to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest Gamer Geek content here on the channel. It's free, and it's easier to hit that subscribe button than it is to complete the Battle Factory, and that is not a joke. And neither are these facilities. I mean, these places were tough. This was truly a challenge like no other. This is why I say it feels like a second Pokemon League. Like, it feels like you have to be beyond a Pokemon champion to come here. You gotta have the skills. You gotta be the best of the best to even defeat one of these places. Maybe that's just my childhood brain talking and it wasn't actually that difficult, but I sure remember it being difficult as hell. Also, I have to acknowledge the Battle Frontier anime as well. Don't think I forgot about you, because I certainly did not. I rewatched the Battle Frontier anime several times as a child. I loved it. Probably one of my favorite arcs of the entire series. But we'll get back to that later. For right now, let's talk about what exactly the Battle Frontier was and why I think it worked so well. The Battle Frontier is an area with an assortment of what's called battle facilities, each with their own gimmicks and ways you progress through them, with some absolutely being harder than others. Pokemon Emerald released in 2004, and at this point in any Pokemon game, we had never gotten anything like the Battle Frontier. And as cool as it was to continue your journey through the Kanto region at the end of Pokemon Gold and Silver, there had never been something to challenge you in the way that the Battle Frontier challenged you. If you are a Pokemon fan that loves a hardcore gaming experience and loves something difficult, this is absolutely the test for you. I guarantee you're not going to find anything harder in a Pokemon game than the Battle Frontier. And that's not even saying that you need to be the most skilled battle-wise, but genuinely some of these battle facilities feel like they're out of your control. This includes the Battle Factory, led by Factory Head Nolan, who in the anime randomly just has an Articuno, and I love that we are already setting the stakes incredibly high, that these people are just using legendary Pokemon. Like, this is crazy. Oh yeah, it's no big deal. You know, these trainers just randomly using legendary Pokemon. That's not intimidating at all in the slightest. The Battle Factory is actually the only facility where you don't use your own Pokemon that you train throughout your adventure. You use a bunch of rental Pokemon, and I really actually like this gimmick and have a lot of fun using the rental Pokemon. I will say it definitely can be a little tricky though, because these aren't your own Pokemon in the same vein, and you can't necessarily pick what you get. You can only pick from what you're given. So best of luck with what you got. Next up is the Battle Arena, led by the Arena Tycoon Greta. Now the Battle Arena has this kind of like interesting scoring system that I really couldn't even tell you how exactly it works, and I especially did not understand it as a child. They rank you on your like mind, body, and skill, which is just a really cliche way of saying that they're going to judge you based on things from your battle. I think it has something to do with like if one of your Pokemon faints, or the amount of damage that you do, the different types of moves that you use. There's an explanation to the madness, I just personally don't understand it. It's definitely really unique and original to have a battle system that works like this. The Battle Dome, which is led by Dome Ace Tucker, and Tucker, I see you. I see you, Tucker. Let's just say that I felt pretty comfortable in the Battle Dome, okay? That's not even a joke. Like, I truthfully and honestly, the Battle Dome probably was one of my favorite places to go, if not my favorite as a kid. For the Battle Dome, you compete in a tournament where you're bracketed off competing against different trainers, and you can see who you're going to be fighting against and what Pokemon they have in the next round, and I really enjoy this. There's the Battle Pike with Pike Queen Lucy, who is famous from the Pokemon anime. I mean, Pike Queen Lucy, I think she got one of the best bits in the anime. Her little interactions with Brock are so hilarious. I always remember them and think about them whenever I think about Lucy. I would say she's one from the anime that stands out, probably one of the most out of any of the brains. Also, her design is gorgeous. Pike Queen Lucy is easily one of the most beautiful people we have ever seen. And also, while I'm talking about it, let me just take a second to give some love and appreciation to every single one of the Frontier brains. All of them have great design. All of them look amazing. These developers and artists, they were working overtime, okay? These brains look amazing. Everybody looks unique. Everybody fits their vibe and aesthetic. Like, everything is so cool and so awesome, and I love this as compared to some later things. And look, no tea, no shade. I would much prefer trainers like this than just trainers that look the same but are just different colors. Look, no shade, no shade. I'm just calling it like it is, okay? It is what it is. But going back to the Battle Pike, you have a bunch of different rooms, each awaiting with its own challenges that could be wild Pokemon, trainer battles, double battles, really could be anything in those rooms. You never really know what to expect. And who knows? I mean, this place looks pretty intimidating and scary from the outside, so there could be a jump scare waiting in one of these rooms. It's gonna be Five Nights at Freddy's security breach all over again. Can you imagine Pokemon with jump scares? That would be like, if any Pokemon game is gonna have a jump scare, it would have to be something from the Legends series, let's be real. Next is the Battle Palace, led by Palace Maven Spencer, and this is actually the one that I know the least about from my childhood because I hated it. The gimmick is great in that your Pokemon work on their own. They battle on their own depending on what their nature is, but I don't necessarily love doing that in terms of a video game. I don't love just throwing my Pokemon to the wolves and just letting them do whatever they want when I'm trying to win a badge. In theory, if this were the anime, if I was an actual Pokemon trainer, then yes, absolutely, I would love this. I love the message behind it of there being a bunch of Pokemon fighting on their own, not necessarily having their trainers ordering them to do anything, just doing what they want to do and whatever they feel is best. That's great, but for me, in terms of a video game that I'm actually playing and want to complete to get a gym badge, maybe it's not the best. So as a kid, I didn't love this, but Spencer's cool, and I definitely remember his segment of the anime as well. You have the Battle Tower, which is used a lot throughout the Pokemon series, but this one specifically is pretty good because it has Salon Maiden Annabelle, which is a great character, and she comes back later because she's so great. I mean, how often do we see these brains? Not too often. So the fact that Annabelle comes back for anything is awesome, and I needed to give her credit that she's one of the only brains that we see come back. In fact, other than Pokemon Masters, like the mobile game, I think she's the only one that has come back, unless I'm mistaken, unless there's some random manga where these brains are just coming back in. I think Annabelle's the only one that has come back for a later entry, so props to you, mama. The Battle Tower, of course, being the most basic of any of these because it's just a consecutive battle system, nothing too complex. The Battle Tower is probably a good way to start off your Battle Frontier experience if you're going for the first time and you don't want anything too complicated, because chances are you've probably done a Battle Tower before if you've played a Pokemon Postgame. And finally, we have the Battle Pyramid, led by Pyramid King Brandon, and this is the part of the anime that I always think of. I always remember that Ash lost to him, this crazy battle, this crazy fight scene. I loved this part of the anime. It was so good, so epic, so awesome. Like, my childhood brain will always remember this battle with Brandon, truly, honestly. In the game, though, the Battle Pyramid is a little confusing. You go through this, like, labyrinth where you have to go through on a quest and get all the way through the pyramid to the top, where eventually you will fight Brandon at the end. And Brandon is another one that just has all the Reggies. Like, we're just gonna battle against all these Reggies and I'm not allowed to use some legendaries of my own? Does it make sense that he canonically has the Reggies? Yes, it does. For his character, it makes sense. I get it. He's an explorer, an adventurer, an archaeologist, whatever you want to call him. Like, yes, it makes sense. But the fact that I'm just battling out here against these people with legendary Pokemon when most of mine are banned for me to even use, it just doesn't really seem fair. But hey, that's the Battle Frontier for you. Nobody says the Battle Frontier is easy. That is not something that you will ever get from anybody that has ever gone to the Battle Frontier. You will never hear that it is easy. Ash didn't lose all those times in the anime for nothing. I know that Ash loses a lot in the anime, and that's no shade to Ash. You know, losing is fine. Losing is the new winning. You learn lessons from losing, okay? You can't always win. All of these battle facilities are great. They have their own unique gimmicks. They have great designs. Their Frontier brains are well designed. I think that this is one of the strongest things about the Battle Frontier, and why so many people like it is that everything feels so unique and feels like it hasn't been done before, especially with a lot of these battle gimmicks that we really have never seen anything like before throughout the series. It felt new, fresh, exciting, and like a completely new challenge. Felt like a natural progression for a trainer that just beat their Pokemon League and became that region's champion. I mean, you want to go somewhere where you can practice and be the best that you ever wanted to be, I mean, the Battle Frontier sounds like that kind of place, because you will be tested and tried, believe me. If you think that puberty is the hardest thing you're ever going to go through as a child, try the Battle Frontier. So if you have the power of God and anime on your side, maybe you'll succeed in the Battle Frontier, but it definitely requires not only battle skill, but also there's absolutely some luck involved. But hey, I still love it. I still think it's great, because in all Pokemon battling, there's always going to be a sense of RNG, what with status conditions and missing of moves, so it's only natural that I feel like there is a luck element in some of these battle facilities. Pokemon, as well as many other turn-based RPGs, have always had some luck elements or things that were out of your control. Another thing that I love personally about the Battle Frontier is this feels like something that has been kind of along with us for our journey the entire time through Scott, who is the owner of the Battle Frontier and kind of follows us through our journey in Pokemon Emerald and tracks how well we're doing, the progression we're making as a trainer, how good we are in the battles and challenges we're doing, and eventually he invites us to come over to the Battle Frontier, which I really liked this. It's someone who is scouting these trainers to see if you're good enough and skilled enough to come and compete at the Battle Frontier to try to win the symbols. It felt like a whole secondary storyline that was happening the entire time that I just wasn't even thinking about, and so when I got the invite to come to the Battle Frontier at the end of the game, as a kid, I was super hyped. I was excited. This was so cool. I was like, oh wow, this guy that's been following me, low-key stalking me my whole journey is now just inviting me to this super cool place where I can compete for more gym badges. Yes, abso-freaking-lutely, I would love to go. Aside from this just kind of being another gym challenge where you are getting these symbols instead of gym badges, you can also get a lot of battle points that you can use to trade in for other things at the facilities. Now, BP is not a new thing in the Pokemon world. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You win BP by battling at the battle facilities, and you can trade it in for things like the Move Tutor, which has a lot of cool and interesting moves, decorations for your secret base and room, vitamins, held items, a bunch of Kiss merchandise for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently the Battle Frontier is a big fan of Smoochum. But hey, that's fine. I'm not judging. You know who else is a big fan of Smoochum? Me. And Aja from Drag Race, which I loved seeing. For anyone who's watching All Stars 10 right now, all the references that Aja has made so far for Pokemon, the Roserade, the Jinx, the Smoochum, oh my... Aja, I love you. I love a Pokemon-inspired look, and so I am here for it. I'm absolutely not complaining that we got a lot of Smoochum merchandise up here in the Battle Frontier. I'm not even sure why. Maybe Scott likes Smoochum. I don't know. I'm not gonna judge Scott. Scott just gave me the opportunity of a lifetime. Who am I to judge? Aside from the battle facilities, there's a couple other things you can do here, one of which being the Artisan Cave, which you can find at the bottom of the map, and this is literally just an interesting cave that has a bunch of Smeargle roaming throughout it. I don't know where this idea came from or why we have it, but I low-key am kind of obsessed with it, that we just have a cave that is filled with Smeargle, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, but I love it. Or let me know, is there a reason for it? Like, maybe I just haven't done enough research on my part. Is there a reason that in the middle of the Battle Frontier we just have a cave filled with Smeargle? Let me know, because I would love to know. Also, on your way to the Artisan Cave, you'll find that there is a reference to Generation 2 with there being an odd tree that ends up being a pseudo-wudo that you have to use your Whalmer Pail to get out of the way. Whalmer Pail, Whalmer Pail, Whalmer Pail. Say that 10 times fast because I know I absolutely cannot. Whalmer Pail, Whalmer Pail. Whalmer Pail. Yeah, I can't do it. Also, I need to mention one of the best things about the Battle Frontier also is that all of these random NPC trainers that you are fighting in these facilities, they talk through Easy Chat, which if you don't know is essentially whenever you do those like little interviews in the game when you have to like pick a word of like, how would you describe this battle? And you have to do like good, cool, cloudy, like in a random assortment of words. All of the trainers talk in this verbiage, and it is hilarious when you just have these trainers walking up and they say the most like outlandish thing. What I think would have been really funny is if every single NPC in the Battle Frontier just spoke like that and they just didn't explain why. Like, that would be so freaking funny. Like, there's not one cohesive sentence from anybody except from the Frontier Brains and Scott. That would have been so freaking funny. I would have loved that. Just no one can string a complete sentence together. It's just a random assortment of words. Another fun fact about the trainers that I recently found out that I didn't know as a kid was some of these trainers in the Battle Frontier, I guess, can also have shiny Pokemon. Whoa! That's cool. So not only can they have legendaries, but they can also have shinies. I mean, these trainers, They're the top of the top. They're the best of the best. Like, are you kidding? Not only do we have legendary hunters, we also got shiny hunters that are coming over here to the battle frontier. I mean, respect. Do any of you battle Maisons and battle towers in any of these other games? Do you have trainers like that? Do you have trainers that got shinies? I don't think so. I apologize, battle towers and battle Maisons. I'm deeply sorry. It's true. It's true. It's true. The battle frontier is just so cool, y'all. I mean, there's never going to be anything like this. And how do I know there's never going to be anything like this ever again? Let me tell you why, because I'm deeply saddened by it. So in doing research for this video, I found out that apparently there's an interview with Junichi Masuda saying that the reason that the battle frontier was not included in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is that only a tiny number of players would have appreciated and using this feature. Players get fed up more easily than they did in the past and aren't attracted by these demanding challenges. Do I agree that the battle frontier is demanding? Yes. Do I agree that the battle frontier is challenging? Also, yes. But at the same time, I think it should have been included not only as a nod to the fans that would have loved to have seen it, but you don't have to do it. You don't have to. You could have still had the Delta episode. You could still include that as well as the battle frontier, and you don't have to do it. I think it would have just been nice for the fans that wanted it to be there, but hey, who am I to speak against Junichi Masuda? I just love the battle frontier, okay? Like, that's just me. But let me know if you agree. Let me know if you would have agreed, if you think that if they would have included it, you know, if people still would have played the game, you know, people wouldn't have stopped playing the game because they were outraged. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment and I just want to redo the battle frontier. But I don't know. I would have loved to have seen it included. I was a little disappointed when I played. I was kind of expecting it, and when I see that it wasn't there, it was a little disappointing. But the Delta episode was still pretty cool. I did enjoy it. Shout out to you, Zinnia. Also, Aster, what a little cutie. But of course, I said that I would come back to it, and here we are coming back to it. Let's talk about the Battle Frontier anime. They do it a little differently in the anime, and that it's not really its own separate area in the Hoenn region. They kind of insinuate that they're building all of these battle facilities in a new challenge across the Kanto region, kind of to foreshadow and symbolize Fire Red and Leaf Green, which were coming out around the time, to circle back to the Kanto region, which I actually think was a really interesting way of doing this, and it's not very often that we see kind of like the animes correlate with the game so much. What was so fun about the anime is that they treated this like a gym challenge. They treated this, again, like a separate region with Ash going through trying to win the badges or symbols, and it was so freaking fun to watch, especially because of how challenging and different some of these battles were. I mean, I felt like I was in the Orange Islands anime all over again, which is something that never got its own game. I know Pokemon Naranja exists, but it is not the same. Maybe I'm just a weirdo who likes like random off Pokemon stuff like the Orange Islands and the Battle Frontier, but I found it really fun. Also, what a cool concept of you battle through all the Frontier Brains, and if you get all the symbols, you then get to become a Frontier Brain yourself. And you get your own facility. How cool is that? This is something that I would actually want to do. I probably want to be a Frontier Brain more than I would want to be a gym leader. We did go back to the Battle Frontier technically in Pokemon Journeys for something called the Flute Cup. Yeah, girl, I don't know what this was. I don't know what they were trying to do with this Flute Cup. If you're gonna bring back the Battle Frontier for something, why bring it back for something like this? Like, what was this? What was that? We have all these amazing facilities, all these amazing Frontier Brains, and we're just not gonna use them. We're gonna have the Flute Cup. The Flute Cup? Yeah, I don't know what the heck that was. Y'all, it is underrated. It is underrated as hell. If you have not seen the Battle Frontier anime, you're missing out. You are missing out. Well, if you can't already tell by now, I purely made this video just to rant and rave about the Battle Frontier, if that was not clear enough already. Let me know down in the comment section below if you are also a fan of the Battle Frontier as much as I am and would like to see something like it return in a future game. I don't think the chances of that are actually too high. I think they're pretty done with the Battle Frontier, which is such a shame because I'm not done with it, but we can always go back to the older games and Pokemon Emerald and replay it as much as we like. I mean, honestly, the music, the nostalgia, the visuals, I will always have a fond place in my heart for the Battle Frontier, and that goes for the game and the anime. It's so funny to me that I'm at a point in my YouTube career to where I'm making just rant videos about things I want to talk about. Like, this video actually was not scripted, which you can probably tell. I kind of was just going on a whim and just riffing off of different things that I wanted to talk about the battle frontier. So let me know if this is a video style that y'all thought was too chaotic, or would you like to see more ranting videos where I'm just kind of like going off the cuff, talking about whatever I want? Let me know. But hey, I had a lot of fun talking about the battle frontier today, so this was a good time. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see y'all in the next video. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go and grind my entire team because I'm still not a high enough level to get through any of the battle facilities. Don't get me started on the battle palace.